We can make this intimate. Come on. Come on. Exactly, 1 row. How's everybody doing? That good, huh? Yeah. There you go. He's making up for the rest of you. Are we having a fun Sunday?
Yes, sir.
All right. Way better than church.
Hallelujah.
Woo! Amen, brother. I don't know how y'all want to do this. Do you just want to ask questions?
Well, I thought we'd talk a little bit.
Oh, there we go. There, you're still here.
I appeared.
If I come up there, am I going to get a lot of feedback?
Probably not.
All right. Hello, feedback.
You're good.
Nothing. All right.
You're fine.
This is quaint.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
A quaint, small
Hi.
room. Yeah, it's fine.
It is. It's lovely.
You wanna come over this way? I'll come over.
All right.
Okay.
So what should we talk about?
Let's talk about you. Let's talk about...
Wonderful. It's my favorite thing to talk about.
Yourself. Let's talk about your work.
Okay.
Maybe we'll talk about the morality of Kitten poker
Sure.
at some point.
Right.
But you just kind of start, and I'll do my thing too.
You'll do your thing? All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you work? I live and work in Austin, Texas now. I work at a video game company.
A video game company?
Yep, a video game company.
Which company?
I work for a company called King's Isle. We make Wizard 101 and Pirate 101.
Yeah.
Woo! That's right.
Huh.
So I do writing for them, like storylines and dialogue, and then I do a ton of voiceover for them too.
That's really cool.
Yep. Which game do you play? Pirate. I play El Toro. Ha ha ha. El Toro. Si.
Tell me about the games.
All right, so they're online MMOs, which are massively multiplayer online games. They're free to play. They're role-playing games. They're made for kids, but we have people who of all ages. Yep, who play them. They're fun. You should check it out. Wizard101.com, Pirate101.com.
Okay. Actually, I think maybe I've accidentally played that once or twice.
You may have.
Okay. That's interesting. I didn't know that you did that as well. Let's talk about your career.
Okay. Be a very short conversation.
And go. Let's talk about some of your work.
Okay.
I've not video game work, although
Sure.
that is incredibly cool. How'd you get started in the industry? And
All right.
How'd you get to where you are now?
I started when I was 5 years old. I saw a movie called Star Wars, and I didn't know what it was at the time, but I knew I wanted to do that.
Right.
And so in high school I did theater, and then I took a few years off in college, and then got back into it in college. And after that, I went to Chicago and did improv comedy in Chicago, trained there, and then moved to LA and started working in LA. I did a lot. My bread and butter was mostly commercials, but I did a short-lived Spanish language sitcom called Los Beltran.
Is that like the Spanish Voltron? Or?
Nope. It was basically the Spanish Jeffersons. It was, and we had a lot of our writers.
Tell me more about the Spanish Jeffersons.
A lot of our writers had worked on All in the Family and the Jeffersons and Dear John, but it was about a Cuban American family or Cuban family that had moved to America, and they owned a little bodega, and their daughter married a Mexican man, which I don't know if you know about Cubans and Mexicans. They tend to usually not get along.
Oh. Okay.
So there was all that. The father of the family was a very Archie Bunker, George Jefferson type, and I played one half of an openly gay couple that lived next door.
What year was this?
1999 and 2000.
Wow.
We were the first openly gay couple on Spanish language TV.
That's incredible.
Yep. No, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So it was a great show, and it was a lot of fun, and we shot in LA, but it got canceled after 2 years. And then I went right from that and ended up getting the part on Buffy.
Buffy.
Yeah,
Buffy
that's why we're all here.
Right. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I'm sure there are some Spanish Jefferson fans somewhere around here. Was the theme song like the Jeffersons? Now I'm just curious.
Nope, not at all. Not in the least.
Drat.
I know.
That's kind of disappointing. So Buffy, how did you land the part on Buffy? And let's talk a little bit about that experience.
Sure. I had done a workshop where I met one of the casting assistants, Lonnie Hammerman, and she had seen me a couple of times, and this role came up for Loose Skin Demon, and it was only supposed to have 5 lines in the one episode, and she'd seen me, so she brought me right to producers. So I auditioned right for a couple of the producers, and I was a fan of the show. I was a big fan of the show. It was one of the shows I wanted to work on most when I moved to LA, and so I kind of just decided to play it as funny as I could and play it completely normal. Because that's what I loved about the show, is that a lot of the times the demons were more human than the humans.
Actual humans, yeah.
So I just played it regular, and they laughed and thought it was funny, and I booked it, and I did the one episode, and I thought that was going to be it. And then like 4 or 5 weeks later, they called me back and said, hey, we want you for another episode, and they just kept calling me. I think part of what happened was that season was really dark, and they needed some comedic relief. And they just kept writing stuff for Clem to do. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. That'd be
I'll
great.
just keep doing it. You keep writing it, and I'll keep doing it. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun.
I wonder how many times you get asked, is Joss Whedon a nice guy? Is he a nice guy?
Joss Whedon is a guy.
He's a guy.
He is a guy.
Yeah.
He is just like any other person. He's nice sometimes and not nice at other times.
Right. Yeah. He's a guy.
But I actually didn't get to work with Joss very much because during season 6, he was off doing Firefly.
Right.
So Marty Noxon was running the show pretty much for most of season 6 and season 7.
Like Nicholas Brendan, he says that's the question that he gets all the time. Like, is he a nice guy? Do you still talk to him? And his answer to that is, no one talks to Joss Whedon. He's running Marvel's Avengers.
Yeah.
It's
he doesn't
not
have
like,
time to talk to anybody.
No, he's got like 4 assistants with 4 different cell phones. Yeah, I mean, it's not like he's going to call me and say, oh, I've got this part for you I've been thinking about. And I think that's kind of the catch-22 with shows like that. With Buffy, though, Buffy's been over for a long while.
Yes, it has.
But it's a show that never seems to go away in the pop culture scene.
No, it's kind of, I'm constantly amazed by it that, the show went off the air 12 years ago, and I'm still doing conventions. I think it's really cool that I meet people now who never watched the show while it was on the air.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think due to things like DVD and Netflix, and the fact that the show was not a show about its time, and its themes were universal and allegorical, and that it doesn't matter that it was made 20 years ago almost. It still plays today.
That seems to be what he does, I think, and what I will say that Joss Whedon does best. You talked about Firefly. It's one of those shows that probably was canceled way too soon.
Way too soon.
And whether you're a fan of it or not, they got a movie out of it, and that's one of those shows that, like, for 13 episodes, people will still be talking about that show in 20 years. It's the exact same thing with Buffy. People are finding that show now, and it's been over for 12 years. Is it odd when you go to events like this and you see younger kids like, I love Buffy?
I think it's awesome. I just met, they were here a second ago. I just met 2, they must be 13 or 14 years old, who are fans of the show. I was like, you were barely born.
They caught the season finale on day one.
Yeah, on day one when they were just born.
You're like, I love this show.
So no, I think it's fantastic, and I think it's, part of it is the day and age we live in where shows don't die.
No, not.
Because they're, it used to be you would have to catch a show on reruns on some off-brand cable network, and now it's at your fingertips.
Right, and that I think is what you can attribute to David Lynch and Twin Peaks. That's why that's coming back.
Absolutely.
2 seasons of an Emmy award-winning show that got thrown onto Netflix. That and that's one of those cult following shows that always is going to have some kind of following, but really has had this huge revival, enough to bring back a show that was long dead. And never a ratings hit. No. That makes me so mad.
And I also think it has something to do with the fact that sort of geek culture and nerd culture are very much, they're no longer sideline cultures.
No.
They're not on the outside anymore. It's become, because of Marvel and DC and all these movies, it's in the forefront of culture now. It's not something you have to hide. Like,
exactly.
I'm a geek, I like comic books. Everybody's doing it.
Well, and Buffy has lived on in a couple other ways. There's comics,
Yep.
there's other stories, and it's not
all
really,
types of fan fiction.
It's not been allowed to die, and not a fan of the fanfic.
Oh, I've seen some Spike Clem slasher fanfic. I've had someone read it to me.
Go on.
Y'all need to get hobbies
Yeah.
and go to some therapy.
Stop writing that stuff. Or do and pitch it. Maybe that's what'll bring it back. I think the question is always asked. I'm sure you probably hear it a lot too. Do you think they'll ever bring Buffy back? You think they'll ever
I
do
don't know.
another movie?
The rumor keeps floating. I don't know. It really all depends on Joss. There seems to be a lot of nostalgia right now, especially for shows in the '90s with X-Files and Twin Peaks and all this
Right.
stuff. Full House coming back. I heard a thing about Party of Five coming back.
Yeah.
So the '90s are very much the nostalgia for the '90s are very popular right now.
See, I look at that as a double-sided coin. Like, I loved some of those shows. Let's leave them alone.
Right. And that's the thing is can you really tell new stories? And as much as I think people would want to, can you get all the actors back?
Exactly.
Do you have an interesting story to tell?
Right.
And let's face it, some of the people who weren't supposed to age have aged.
Yeah.
It's time waits for no one.
Right.
Unless you
No
figure out a
one.
way to be like, wow, for a vampire, you have not held up well.
What have you done to yourself? That's
So
some
I don't
bad
know. I
luck.
mean, I've heard rumors that it could come back. I've heard rumors that there's no way in hell. Sarah seems to be flip-flopping on it a lot.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, and I had read something not long ago that said, she's constantly asked about it too, and she gave an answer that she had not previously given. It was like, well, I don't know.
Right.
And it flipped everybody out, because Joss is.
Well, who knows?
he's-
She might be one
Yeah.
more canceled show away from
Yeah.
saying yes, please. Let's
Yeah,
do another
let's-
Buffy show.
Yeah. Well, Joss
I got rent to pay.
Joss he's done with the Avengers.
Yep.
He's done with Marvel. Anybody see Age of Ultron? I guess you all did.
Well, he said that movie almost killed him.
Oh yeah, and you can tell. You can tell. I loved Avengers because it felt like something he had his hand in. This did not. I'd read where it was he had gone back and forth with the Disney execs. Said, "You want this scene, but I want
Right.
this scene. You're gonna have to compromise and give me this."
Well, that movie had the problem of the weight of setting up the entire next round of Marvel films. So
The
it
next
couldn't
10
be
years.
It couldn't be its own standalone movie. He had so much he had to do that I don't think he could tell the story he wanted to tell.
Right. And I think that's the greatest, about Joss Whedon. He tells a story incredibly well, which is why people love Buffy.
Yeah.
And are always going to love Buffy. That's a timeless show that you could do it again. You could.
I think the only way it would work is if you, like they're doing with the X-Files, brought it back in a very limited run. Say, we're just going to
Right.
do 6 or 8 episodes. We're going to tell one more story, and that's going to be it.
And shut up about it.
And then be done.
Yeah. Although the X-Files stuff, David Duchovny apparently cried when he read the script.
Right.
Because it was apparently that good. So.
Who knows? I mean, it
fine
just
with
depends on if he's got more to say.
Right. And if you do, that's fine. I mean, I think that Buffy is so alive right now that you just kind of hate to poke it. It's like
Right.
Michael Jordan retired, then played with the Wizards. And in my mind, that never even happened.
Right.
Yeah, nope, that didn't
Like
happen.
Emmitt Smith going to play for the Cardinals.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's an embarrassment to football. But I think almost, do some shows need that? Yes, I think you should bring back Firefly. I think Nathan Fillion's awesome. I love everything he does. He's a cool guy. You could bring that back. I'm fine with
He
it.
is a ruggedly handsome man.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
And he knows
He's
it too.
very charismatic.
I'm very surprised he hasn't been thrown into the superhero world.
Yeah, I'm surprised too.
There's rumor going around for a while that he'd be Green Lantern or something like that. But I just like him being awesome without being anything. He's just that way. But I hope they don't mess with Buffy. I mean, you can bring it back, that's fine. But it's one of those things that it's still so alive. you almost hate to mess
Right,
with it. Twin
right.
Peaks is dead. I mean,
Right.
it has been dead.
Sure.
We have no idea what's going on with Twin
Right.
Peaks, and we want to know, but not so much with Buffy.
I mean, look, if I got the call,
Oh, right. I'm not saying
I'm
they
not going to
shouldn't
say
call you.
no.
Yeah. Well, would I like to do that? Well, of course. I'll be there in 5 minutes. I'm outside.
Right.
Yeah, but I think that that's kind of the place we're in with our shows and our content. We have to rehash stuff that doesn't need it. And Buffy is such a great show the way it is. If they want to bring it back, that's fine, as long as he's involved.
And it had a very tidy, wrapped up ending.
Right.
And then you've got the storyline that's been continued in the comics. And do you ignore that? Do you try to keep that? How do you do it?
Well, and they did that with Firefly as well, and I don't know. I think it's a thin line that you walk on.
Right.
So, was there obviously you had a good experience on Buffy? Is there anything that stands out to you? This was great. I really enjoyed this the most.
I had a great time shooting every episode. I mean, I was just glad to keep getting a call to come back, and I would get each script when I would get it and just flip through it and go, oh, thank God I didn't die. Okay. Woo! Clem did not die. Excellent. No, I had a blast. I mean, I loved getting to work with everybody. And then, in the years since, getting to travel the world with people I didn't get to work with, like
Right.
Anthony Stewart Head and a few other people, but getting to go all over the world and meet fans. It's just been, I never, ever would have thought in a million years that this little small character that I played on a TV show I'd still be doing it 13 years later.
Right. I think it's incredibly cool.
I just do. It's awesome.
Yeah. So what did you do after Buffy?
A whole lot of nothing. No, I did, what did I do? I did a lot of commercials, a lot of theater. I did an episode of The Comeback, the Lisa Kudrow show.
Yeah.
If you blink, you miss me.
Oh, okay.
I did some really bad independent films. One with the comedian Godfrey.
Oh yeah, I know him.
It's
He follows me
called
on Twitter.
Unemployed. It should be called Unwatchable.
Is it that bad?
Oh, it's atrocious.
Hey, he has a new show on Fox where he shoots people into a
Yay,
bullseye.
good for him.
He follows.
I'm gonna be honest with you. He's the single worst person I've ever worked with in my life.
Really?
Yep.
Well, he followed me on Twitter not long ago, and I was like, "This guy looks familiar. Oh,
Yeah.
it's that comedian. Why is he following me
Yeah,
on Twitter?"
no, he's awful.
Yeah. Okay, I won't talk to him then.
He was a jerk.
Was it that bad?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
It was so bad I almost walked off.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the premise of the movie?
Two guys who don't have a job need to get a job, and they go around Los Angeles trying to get a job. It was made for no money, and you can tell.
James, we're going to need you to drive your car today.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes. That's horrible.
Yep.
Oh. So why video games? Like, why was this?
Why video games? It was when I moved to Texas. I was like, I'm 37 years old and I have no job skills. So I figured, I was a writer in LA too, and I thought if there's any industry that whatever skills I do have could transfer over, it would be video games. And I like playing video games, and Austin had a lot of video game companies.
That's where it is.
So I had a friend from LA who worked at Kings Isle and was like, well, we don't have anything right now, but I'll keep you posted. And then they had an internship open up, and I interviewed and got it, and then started to learn how to do it.
Wow. I think that's the story in video games is something that's gotten lost, like over the last 10 years. With the MMOs we made, they were very story heavy, very content driven, and we're moving into the mobile market. That's where
we're
going.
having to switch how we do things. We got some really cool games coming up. Can't tell you about any of them, but they're really cool. But they're not as content heavy, so it's sort of trying to.
It's kind of hard to do that on a mobile platform.
It is, but the mobile platforms are changing so fast. I mean, look, this thing 5 years ago nobody had these,
right?
And now everyone has one, and
right.
it's a friggin' computer in your hand.
Yes.
You can do everything on this.
The first iPhone could have powered the first rocket to the moon.
Yes,
That's
it's
mind
nuts.
blowing. Yeah.
So, and the screens are getting bigger and they're getting more powerful computing wise. So in 5 years, who knows? You may be playing an MMO on a tablet.
Right.
So, maybe that'll come back. And there are there are games that are very content heavy, like the Walking Dead game.
Right.
And,
Oh man.
The new Fallout Shelter.
Oh yeah.
Has a tremendous amount of background content.
Right.
So there's just all types of games. But then you got games like Angry Birds that, there's not a whole lot of writing and
yeah.
Hopefully with advances in technology, you'll be able to get mobile games with VO, which would be really cool. Because right now, most games don't have the the download size is too big to put a lot of VO in games, but that's all changing. So
it is, and that's, I upgraded to an iPhone 6 Plus. It's huge. I love it. But I'm able
good
to,
for you.
Sorry. You want to see my Apple Watch? So I'm, I've found myself going more towards mobile gaming, and I think on the 6 Plus, an MMO would be great.
Right.
And that's where people are going, back that direction.
It is.
And they're cheaper.
No, they are, and right now the games are very casual. People, you can play something while you're waiting in line at Starbucks for 5 minutes, and then you can put it away and go do something else.
That lady right there plays The Simpsons tapped out more than any other.
Oh
person
wow!
on
So you
Earth.
like the tappers, the clickers?
Yeah. Is that what you're doing with your phone out right now? Were you tapping?
I was actually tweeting.
Oh, okay. Well,
Oh,
that's
you're
fine.
tweeting a picture.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Did you tweet me?
Yay!
I did.
You did?
Okay.
Okay, good.
Awesome.
All right, you found me. Okay,
And
good.
she was playing tapped out. So, I think it's that ability to always have it on the go. Once an MMO is a game that you really get invested in.
Right.
So you want to be able to take it on the go with
Right.
you. Not everybody is going to sit in one room for 15 hours straight
Right,
playing World of Warcraft.
and if you can have mobile games that tie into your main game, where you could level up a pet or garden or craft.
Yes.
Have games that would help you do that while you're not at home on your PC.
Right,
I think people would be all over that.
Awesome. Do you have any questions? We're going to take some questions.
You got a question?
All right, let's go down here and do
Come
some
on.
questions.
Questions.
What's in the box? What's in the box?
What's in the box?
that's-
What's in the box?
That's a really cool sword.
I came here to ask you one question.
Okay.
What is kitten poker?
What is kitten poker? Well, in the first episode of Buffy I was in, is that Older and Far Away? What do you want?
Hey, well, hang on, man.
He's going to give you some love.
I was just over there sitting listening, and I heard a trickle of worst person I've ever worked with. I missed the name though. Who was it?
Godfrey, the comedian Godfrey. No, not Gilbert Godfrey.
Gilbert Godfrey.
Godfrey. It's a single name comedian, African American comedian named Godfrey. Awful.
But
Awful.
before you guys,
I'll tell you, man. There's a lot of people in the industry that are really cool, and that pool is really small. But I'll tell you, man, we all share it. When you work with a butthole, we're like, hey, by the way, so and so butthole. Thank you for the insight. You're welcome.
You're welcome. Sean Patrick Flannery, everybody. When I was in high school, and he's not much, we're roughly the same age. I was so jealous of him when he got to be on Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. I was like, I want to be him so bad. Anyway, your question, kid poker. In the first episode of Buffy I did, Buffy's hanging out with Spike, and he takes her to a backroom poker game. And it's with a bunch of demons. And instead of playing for money, they play for kittens. So, what did you think? Get your filthy mind out of the gutter. Do we have any kids here?
You take your box.
Earmuffs. Put the earmuffs.
Earmuffs, children.
Earmuffs, children. Look, those pussies were a pain in the ass.
Kitten poker. I didn't want to know
Aren't they
myself.
all?
Who else? Somebody. Oh, well, let's go over here. You have Gambit on your shirt.
I just want to know who is your favorite Buffy character besides yourself.
Who is my favorite Buffy character? That would have to be Faith. I got to meet her twice. The first time I met her was at a posting board party, before Facebook and MySpace and
Right.
TwitFace and InstaFace and all the things we have now.
All of those faces.
They were posting boards, which is how all the Buffy fans got together. And every year in LA, they had a big party. It was huge. And so I got to go to it, and Joss was there, and everybody was there, and she was there, and I was I'm usually not very starstruck. You know, you meet people and you kind of realize everybody's just doing a job. I was a tongue-tied moron in front of her. Like, I was on the show too. I played show. I Clem show played on Buffy show. Not with you, but on show.
Who is this guy?
Yeah,
Who's this guy
and then
here?
a few years later, I know Claire Kramer very well. She played Glory. And at her wedding, Eliza was at her wedding, and I had a few drinks, as I was wont to do back in those days. And by a few, I mean a lot.
It's a wedding.
Yeah, and I was air guitaring to Sweet Child of Mine vigorously. And it's the solo, and I'm going for it. Low slung,
Let's
yeah.
do it.
And
All
I
right.
turn around,
The child
and
is pointing at you.
she's about this close to me, sitting like that on the dance floor, and she just is looking at me like she's never seen anything quite like that. And that was the last time. So Faith is one of my favorite characters in Spike. I love Spike. Spike is awesome. Yeah.
All right.
If I could play anyone on the show, I'd play Spike. But I'd probably be more of a Xander.
You view yourself as more of a Xander?
I view myself as more of a Xander.
Don't
yes.
we all?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Xander. Anybody else? Any
More questions, anyone?
Question. Come on.
Get your questions out now.
Come on.
You know you got a question. Come on.
Somebody's got
Anybody?
questions.
Anybody?
I know you do.
Anybody want to know? Oh, there he is, back there.
What are you?
Are you Legend of are you Airbender?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
That's awesome.
Sokka, yeah.
Here we go.
Because they brought Buffy back on ABC Family, they're playing reruns now. Do you think that's like in preparation for anything?
I don't, I would, look, if I allow myself to go down that road, I'll be up nights. And then constantly looking at my phone. Every time an LA number comes up, would be like, who is this? Hello? Oh, you're collecting a bill? Nope, wrong number, sorry.
I don't know that Leary fellow.
I don't know that Leary fellow. I don't know the wrong number. We're all fine here now. How are you? Kid, we're going to have company. I don't know. It would be great if it was. I doubt it. It's probably just to make money. But I'm excited.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be more mailbox checks.
Well, I mean, he will. Whedon will be available. I mean, I'm sure he's got stuff scheduled out pretty far in advance.
No, I mean, it'd be cool if it was, but I have no idea. I'm just glad that it's,
still cool.
still out there, and, we'll be partnered with Dawson's Creek.
Right.
Who is Joey going to choose? Pacey or Dawson? I loved that show,
Yeah.
by the way. I loved Dawson's Creek.
That's the I will remember you. Yeah.
Oh, then
Yeah.
I missed the 90s. Weren't the
90s were
90s
awesome.
literally just 5 years ago? I swear to God, the 90s
The
were 5 years
90s,
ago.
where people had original ideas.
Well, sort of.
Well, kind of, sometimes.
Look, we had a remake of the Flintstones and the Coneheads in the 90s, so there weren't that many original ideas.
Let's not talk about either one of those.
Right.
Oh, the Flintstones. I had forgotten about that.
As well, you should have.
Good Lord.
I think they did a sequel, too. Yeah.
They didn't do it with Rick Moranis and John Goodman, though,
No.
did they? No. Didn't that kill Rick Moranis?
No, Rick Moranis left voluntarily.
That's right. He won a Grammy for his Yiddish album. He has an actual album, and it's pretty good. Anybody have a question? Oh, you in the box.
With the box.
What's in the box? Sorry.
So, in light of shows like Buffy and Firefly and even Charmed and Angel and such, if you had to play a character on a different kind of show, like, an alternate role, what would your dream role be?
Gosh, you know who has the career that I always wanted? Chris Pratt.
Oh, man.
I would love to be Chris Pratt. He's funny, he's charming, he gets to do, he got to do that great part on Parks and Rec, and now he's become kind of like leading man guy.
Totally on accident.
Yeah, totally by accident. I would love to have, his career is the career I always dreamed of, like in my wildest fantasies.
Because he really sort of made that for himself.
Yeah.
Like, everybody kind of always wants to be, I'd like to be, on this great comedy and be this funny goofball character, and then go be Star-Lord.
Right.
And no one did that before Chris Pratt.
Right.
And he's incredible.
No, he's great. I think he's awesome.
He's hilarious. Say what you will about Jurassic World, but he's pretty great in it.
Yeah,
And-
he's awesome in it.
Yeah. And if I don't get Guardians of the
He is
Galaxy 2,
attractive and charismatic.
yeah, he's very good.
As far as TV shows, I mean, God, I'd love to be on Walking Dead as a person.
Oh, I was about to say,
As a person.
As a person. Or
As a
not?
person. What else? I was really bummed they canceled Constantine. I loved Constantine.
That's got to come back in some way.
I don't. Who knows? I love Arrow. I love Flash. I'd love to be a bad guy on Arrow or Flash. That would be great.
Those are huge shows
Yeah.
right now. I mean,
Yeah.
my only issue with those is that DC isn't actually going to use those folks in their movies.
I know
and
they
that's
don't
a
have
mistake.
they don't have a continuous universe.
It's a big mistake. I mean,
The new season of Agent Carter is going to be set in L.A. in the 40s.
Right.
I would love to be on that. That would be awesome. In my mind, I would love to be the dashingly handsome, roguish Indiana Jones character, but in reality, I'd probably play the goofy sidekick, and I would be happy with either one.
the Goofy sidekick is fun. Anyone else? Question. Someone's got a question.
Someone's got to have a question.
Yeah,
Yes.
All right. Favorite Star Wars
Favorite
movie?
Star Wars Empire. Because there's only 3 Star Wars movies.
Yeah. Had you said episode 1, we would have just ended this
Yeah.
conversation
Yep.
right now.
There's only 3.
Yeah. And there's going to be another one, maybe. Fingers crossed.
I'm hoping that I really hope. I really, really hope they're good.
JJ's really good.
Yeah. So as long as the script is good,
Yeah, and it's he's getting a lot of flack for Star Trek, but that's not his doing.
I don't think so
That's-
either, yeah.
That's studio stuff,
But-
not anything to do with him.
yeah, I think Empire's phenomenal.
Anyone else? Let's give a hand to Mr. James Leary.
Anyone? Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Y'all have a good afternoon.